Good evening, I'm Kirsty Wark and I'm delighted to welcome you to the Clores studio at the Royal Opera House. We have a full house in the Clore and I know there are thousands of you around the world watching, so welcome to you too. Tonight's Insight takes us behind the scenes with the dancers of the Royal Ballet as they rehearse Wayne McGregor's astonishing Woolf works, a ballet that has redefined what storytelling can look like on a stage. And a decade after its acclaimed debut in 2015, Woolf work returns to the main stage tomorrow, 17th of January. Resident choreographer Wayne McGregor's experimental ballet triptych has inspired the genre-defying writing of Virginia Woolf and is set to an original score by Max Richter. Tonight, we are going to see excerpts of Wayne's award-winning choreography in rehearsal. Later, I'll be joined in conversation by Wayne and principal guest artist Lauren Cuthbertson, who makes her debut as Virginia in this run of Woolf works. We'll also, naturally, be celebrating the publication of Wayne's new book, We Are Movement, Unlocking Your Physical Intelligence, which explores the deep connection between mind and body, a theme that runs through all his work, and it is actually an astonishing piece of writing. And if we all follow it, we'll be the better for it. Now for our first rehearsal, please help me welcome Principal Coach Edward Watson and dancers of the Royal Ballet, Nicole Edmonds and Liam Boswell. First, Ed, I mean, you've had this incredible creative journey with Woolf works because you worked with Wayne in the kind of seminal opening months of, organising, planning, choreographing. You were, in a way, you were Septimus. You are Septimus.
Originally, yeah, when Wayne first made the ballet, yeah.
And tell me, when you were thinking about that and thinking about what Septimus meant, Septimus is, I'm sure many of you know, Septimus is a veteran of the First World War. He has terrible PTSD that was hardly known about then. What was the process that you were going through to get to know Septimus?
I think just knowing at things like the time that the book was written, those things weren't spoken of that much, or things like, PTSD or two men in a relationship certainly weren't spoken about and written about in probably a positive way, and lots of people probably wouldn't recognize those things or wouldn't want to recognize those things. So it was about putting those things out there.
Yeah.
And also knowing that these two people only found each other and were completely themselves because of this awful war.
Yeah.
And the moment that the awful war is the thing that took him, and there's, things like those, knowing, that sadness is where we see you to start with, and we go back a little bit.
So we are going to see you rehearse, Nicole and Liam, in an excerpt from the first act of the ballet, I Now, I Then, inspired by Mrs. Dalloway. And it was a subversive story for her to tell at the time, navigating themes, as you say, about sexuality and shell shock. When you were thinking about how Septimus would, as it were, perform on stage, did you feel that Septimus was a strong character?
No, you see him as a sort of broken person in between moments of, being paralyzed and moments of memory, and then moments of very much reality where he is now. So I think you'll see really clearly when those moments are, and that's kind of our job, is to show when those things are in and out of memory and real time.
And when you came to this role, had you known much about Septimus? Had you seen Woolf works before?
Yeah, I've actually been in the whole journey with Woolf works as well.
Yeah.
So getting to get to the point of dancing Septimus has been a real honour, obviously, and learning from Ed and Wayne and really trying to understand the nuances and particular ideas of Septimus that they have, and bring them on board with my interpretation has been a really inspiring journey.
Because, of course, Mrs. Dalloway is an ideas-driven book rather than a narrative book. So there were presumably few clues, which actually is very good for a ballet, because then you can decide exactly how you want to present.
Yeah, you have to make choices
and
be okay with that.
Yeah.
And what about Liam dancing Evans? Obviously the late Evans. Yeah. Tell me about that kind of role and how you inhabited it when it was kind of quite ethereal.
Yeah, I think Evan's relationship in the context of what you'll see today and the work is never fully quite real. I think their first kind of interaction is more he's a memory that Septimus is seeing, and then later on in the full kind of parade with this amazing music that you'll hear, he's hallucinating Evans to a point where he does seem real, and in that moment I think we can connect a little bit more and just kind of dive into their relationship as well.
Well, it seems to me that's a perfect place for me to leave the stage and for you to begin.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll just take these from you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks. I thought we'd just talk through each little bit, a few notes, and then have a look at it as we go, just so I don't exhaust them and do like a run and give them notes afterwards. So we first see you alone, kind of in this state of nowhere, really. So I think even this, you're already in between falling and standing, I think is, yeah, that's good. And then go first. Yeah. Okay, try and be a little bit more broken with the idea of it being, you don't look at it, so you have an elbow and then an arm, and it sort of comes into focus a little bit more like that. That's it. Then on. I don't think you should look at it. I think it's that thing. This looks too like you know where things are. I think it's just how you fall. You kind of half form the thing and stay with a little bit of a delay on where you are. That's good. Yeah, can this be a little bit bigger? So you're not in control of what's happening to that arm as you take the thing, yeah? Yeah, good. Carry on. I think it's almost, sorry, I'm being really picky. It's almost too studied in a way. I think from this, you're like, oh yeah, is that a hand? Is it like the other one in a way? And then the next thing. I think don't. There's two of them. They go away from you. Yeah, nice. Then, yeah, I think this is another moment as well when they take you somewhere. So really leave your head this way. They're doing their thing and you... Yeah, that's good, that's good. Yeah, nice. Yeah, a little more uncomfortable, like really, it's like an itch. Yeah, good. Nice. That'd be a little bit more like a bit like a little spasmy thing. Great. Really circle that one. So find your... Yeah, I think you have to sit a bit more on that side than you want in order to go even lower. There you go. Nice. Has that got a little... Yeah. Don't make it the foot, make it the hand. It's too slow. I think it looks like you're managing it. I think it's a bit of a slap. There you go. Great. Nice. Yeah. This little fall, it's the same idea that the arm is taking you. Change the level a little bit, Nicole, maybe. Great. Yeah, good, good, good. And then, yeah, nice. Do you want to try that? Sorry, a lot of information on a few steps. Yeah. Can we just find that, Michaela? Thanks. Let's try and disassociate a little bit of the thing, unrecognized. You don't recognize it, but somehow things are doing what they're supposed to do, you know? That's it. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Thanks, Michaela. Yeah, much better. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just good. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Something else happens. So this is the first time Septimus sees Evans. Let's have a look. And it sort of explains itself. It's so there. So we're here. Yeah, I think you're both not. I think it's up for. I think you just see a hand coming towards you, and your automatic thing is to go and shake that hand, and then you see who it is, and boom. I think don't join those things up. This is like, automatic. Oh, it's him. Great. Good. Carry on. Yeah. Is there something going back a little bit, like we've had this thing of hands and falling, and once you're here, which hand is it? It's this one. You see his hand, and you sort of recognize your own a little bit this way. Don't make it two things. I think it's about remembering that hand and that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And good. Yeah. Yeah, 1 second. Good. That was really good. These were great. I think there's that really nice little moment before you turn. Just, was it him? Before you go, just turn your head a tiny bit sooner. And then, boom. Great. Now, can you do this turn on your own? We used to go boom and use the weight of coming up is the turn. So there's like a drop, a turn, and another fall. It just looked a little bit managed. Ha. Let him go. Turn. And great. Good. Yes. It's a little bit too on. I think this one, you need to be a bit like away, and then this is what brings you back up. So the promenade's a little bit more off. Now bring yourself together and on. That's it. Good. Nice. Yeah, try not to make this look...
So, yeah,
it's sort of almost like the face, and then it's not, Make it a real thing. Great. Good. Passe down. Nice. Can you really hang there? Is there any way this arm can join your... Yeah, straight away. So just give him a second before you turn him so he's really over. And it's just the feet that are kind of formed in this force. I think you look a little bit out, just a tiny bit. Should we try? Yeah, just those things. Thanks, Michaela. Good. Take your time. Yeah. Good. Squeeze it. Yeah. Off. On. Hang. Really hang. Follow him wherever he goes. Follow him, keep watching him. Yeah, good. Thanks. That's so much better. Yeah, just those little things. And I think, just remember, I saw something the other day, as she's coming around, I think, even though you've got to partner her, try and have your head on wherever he was, and then it makes more sense of all of this stuff. Just know that he's going there, and that's where your thought is. Good. Nice. Yeah. Solo time. Yeah, let's come through. So maybe just talking about this solo is like, I might get this wrong, but I always imagined it as like ultra, hyper sensory. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's leaves, I think there's something about the leaves, like they look like they're on fire. The color of them is so bright as you're running through, and you've got the feel of the water, the excitement of something just going over your head. Just all of those things have got to be like ultra magnified. So let's go through those and find them. So try not to make that look like you're clearing. I think it's really like you see the color that becomes the... Yeah, try not to throw that away and make a V. Yeah. Great. Nice. Can you max those? Which one is it? Oh. This one. Yeah. Try and join your hands together, whichever one it is. Yeah, so it's the back one needs to join the... Yeah, so we get that real... Start it with your back. Yes, nice. Really pull those things out, Nicole, so something's coming out of your back. Yes. Can they have a little bit more up, off, on? Yeah, so don't miss out the back on, yeah. I think it's that feeling, you know, when your skin's alive and you don't make it look two things. I think, sorry. I think you've got to start it from it's already, yeah, there you go. But it's not horrible, it's great. It's absolute ecstasy, you know? Stars. Imagine like the black sky and you're kind of pricking tiny stars, like you're making the light come out of the dark. So it's really like sparkling, yeah. Yeah, nice. This is a moment as well. I think enjoy this, but this has to be a little bit more, you know, when something just flies over your head, it's like, oh, wow. But I maybe look, yeah, good. A little bigger here. You're telling us this story, this book. You're in the story, you know? I think it's too low. I think it's got to be out there. So we see this thing. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And this one have a little bit of a different... how it gets there. And then we've got these quicker ones. I think if you get rid of it, you just look, I think enjoy the, oh, yeah. Yes. Nice. Yeah. Can you hang back on that one a little bit so you see something quite far away that's bringing you forward? You're throwing your head back a bit, and I think you need to really see something. Yeah. I think it looks a bit, it's more air in there. I think how it closes. Yeah, nice. I think it's one of those memory moments. I don't think it's so I think it's remembering faces and people a long time ago. I think that's what we spoke about. Yeah, I think nothing's there. It's all in the past kind of thing. Great. Should we carry on? Should we mark through and then you can do a whole, or do you want to do that?
Shall we do that?
Do that. So think sensory overload, yeah? Go, really rush. And a stop. And. Nice. Squeeze it. Yeah. Good. Pull, pull, pull. Sharp. Bigger. Yes. Bigger. Keep it big. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Good, really good. Yeah, so much bigger and like you really let us into what you're feeling. Good. Shall we have a look at this? Go, go, go. Ha, ha, ha. So I think you've got to really spin in there when we get there. It's got to be really like a whoosh, both of you, like as fast as you can. Faster? Yeah, yeah. And that was fast. Okay, maybe not that fast. Okay, and then go on. Yeah, I think we just need that. This is the joy of it, which makes us sad, is that you had that moment of joy. So I think we need to see that. I don't think you can go directly. Yeah, try that. Yes. Uh-huh. I think, Liam, really make contact. Like, see that arm and, like, touch it. Great. Nice. Uh-huh. Can that turn start off? So can the promenade, can it be at that angle? I think that was the idea, is that it's off. Don't try and, if you can, keep them off for the turn too. Stay there, turn at that angle, great, nice, good. Nice. Nicole, can you pick that foot up a little bit more so we see the drop of it? Yeah, good. Nice. You can change those up a little bit. It's more like a little, like the first one, like a little shiver, and the second one a bit bigger, just so it's not. Yeah. And now go. Nice. Good. Can you get a little slide on that? A little more? It looks a little bit like a step. And can it... Can you travel him a little bit? So give him your weight a little sooner, Nicole. Give him your weight now. And stay at that angle. Great. Nice. Uh-huh. Can you get past him for that? You should really try and jump round the back of him on that. So just maybe, Liam, help him around the corner a little bit. Yeah? Yeah. Good. Great. Is there any way, Liam, you can make it look like you're coming forward to his hand? So he set this thing and you come forward into those shoulders rather than straight down. Yeah. Good. I think little thing, as he's come down, as you see his head falling, you want to catch it. I don't think it's you pulling it back. Have this moment caught and let him fall and you catch his head. Yes. Good. I think there's a little bit more. Sorry, Nicole, I'm being really annoying. I think on this, you can make it more in your stomach than a wide thing. So this, your legs don't change too much. It's more of just underneath. Yes. Nice. Good. Yeah. Can you really get a bit more of a whoosh on that? It's a little bit, I think start further away. Sorry, Nicole. I think start further away, pull him towards you. Sorry. I think otherwise it's, yeah, like really go for the whoosh. Yeah. Yeah. 2 rolls. Great. And we're in. Good. Carry on. Chuk, chuk, chuk. This is really good. Nice. And ha. Yeah, can we have a little bit more out in so we get a bit more the out and the in is the stop. Sure. Yeah. Ha, good. You make the shape, he joins it, you both turn it. Try not to be so low nickel that we miss the shape. That's it. Nice. I think you could get a bit more. I don't think you should change that grip. I think this is, what is it?
Right.
Right, left. I think you stay here for the fall. I think you don't do the safety thing. I think it goes off. Yes. Good. Nice. Liam, enjoy that moment. Yeah. As he goes down your arm, give us something there, yeah? Yes, good. Sink now, start bending that knee. Good. Great. Ha. Nice, good. Find his head and go. And follow. Keep going, keep going, keep going, going, and he's gone. Boom. Great. Good. Sorry, that's all we've got time for. Good. Yeah, good.
That was fantastic. I mean, isn't that just wonderful, getting to see that? And actually, that's the first time Wayne has seen Ed do that with essentially what is Wayne's ballet, which is extraordinary. And it's been so lovely to get a glimpse of the way that you rehearse the dancers, Ed. That has been tremendous. But we are in luck because we're going to get to see another piece of rehearsal, I Now, I Then, this time led by resident choreographer Wayne McGregor and featuring dancers of the Royal Ballet, Lauren Cuthbertson and Thomas Whitehead. Let's welcome them on now. I think we have to say many congratulations are in order to you, Lauren, for coming back and in such full throttle as you're going to be after a really difficult time. And I'll talk to you about that later on. But it's your debut in this run of Woolf Works. I'm going to chat about a lot of that later, but I just want to take you back to the moment where you saw Alessandra doing it in the opening night in 2015. Just give us a sense of what that felt like.
Unforgettable. It was a completely cathartic experience, especially I remember I felt overwhelmed during Act 3 in the waves. I think I cried all my makeup off. But yeah, I will never forget it. Yeah.
And we're going to talk to you much more about that. But Tom, it's wonderful to have you here because we last watched you rehearsing Frederick Ashton's La Fima Gardée, and it's a very sort of different ballet. Let's talk. Woolf Works is set to score by McGregor. What's the music like to work with?
Oh, the music's actually incredible. Absolutely one. Do I need that? Sorry. Yeah, the music's incredible. It's just a joy to those, that sort of sweeping soundscape that he creates. It's it's really special. And
Wayne, just explain what we're about to see now. What are you going to take the dancers through at the moment?
Well, we're just about to start. Hi, everyone. We're about to start with the very beginning of the ballet. It's so interesting watching Ed. I mean, I had a kind of synesthetic experience then, just like Woolf writes, that all senses are mixed up at once. And one of the wonderful things about Woolf is this stream of consciousness, non-literal story that she tells, She's dealing with sensation all of the time. And you notice even when Ed was coaching then, he's trying to deal with sensation rather than exact meaning. And we're going to do a little bit of that. We're going to start with the beginning of the ballet. We're going to work together to just fix a little bit more on sensation and invent that together.
Well, that's wonderful, and we are going to be talking to you later. So I will take the microphone from you. I will exit stage left with the microphone and leave you to it.
It is so interesting when we think about stories or storytelling that what we're doing all the time is we're speaking with our bodies. And you know, there are kind of 3 categories of gesture. And I just want to kind of like share what they are with you so that when you're watching this rehearsal with Lauren, you might be able to identify how she's moving or slipping between types of gesture. So we have an amazing kind of form of gesture called emblems. Emblems are things that you will recognize, these kind of almost like universal gestures that everybody, context-dependent, understands. And in ballet, you'll recognize that in ballet mime. That's an emblematic gesture. It's something that stands for something that has to be universally understood for meaning to be communicated. There's another form of gesture called illustrators, and you'll see our politicians do this a lot. And they illustrate something related to you speaking. So if I were to say I'm going fishing and I caught a really big fish, this gesture will allow you to see that, right? You see the illustrated gesture of the politician that's emphatically telling you that this is the way that the world has to be. If you think in dance, there's an amazing choreographer called Crystal Pike who uses voiceover, so text-based language, and then creates dance with it. And she's using a lot of illustrators. She's kind of riffing off this relationship between the textual sound, the textual meaning of something, and the physical language of something. And then there's a kind of a type of gesture that's really important in ballet, and it really comes from this notion of intention. How is it that you create intention from the body? What do you do? And these are called adapters, and we all do these. We're all very, very eloquent at reading these kinds of physicality between us. They're things like grooming gestures that we might do. I used to, when I had hair, used to do this a lot. I still do it weirdly, but that would be an adapter. We do them, they're kind of the unconscious kind of gesture that tells you something about the inner state, right? And this is very important for this ballet. It's actually very important for dance in general, because what we're doing is not trying to tell you something concrete. It's impossible in a body. Look at all of the miscommunication that we have between ourselves in real life, where we don't really always know what somebody's thinking or feeling. This kind of like ambiguity is all based around these adapted gestures, and it's something that we really do like phenomenally well in ballet. So it might be something like an adapter that you were self-grooming. It shows something, it articulates something of the inner life, the inner sensation of a person. So this very beginning that Lauren is doing, this is Virginia Woolf standing at the beginning of the whole ballet. We hear a voiceover of her talking about the process of writing. She's about to embark on this huge, incredible novel, but there's a kind of like a trepidation to it. And so all you see is Virginia Woolf there in a coat, standing. And what we're looking at really are these adapter gestures. There's nothing else. All we're seeing is the adapter gesture. That's what we're kind of like receiving. So Lauren will decide how to do that. I'm not sure how she's going to do it. I would never tell her what the move would be. She would. She'll figure out what is that state of presence, what is that emotional state that she wants to convey. But the very first thing that she does in terms of action is actually try and break free. Yeah, break free from the stillness, like a kind of a sense of beginning, like opening up this story. And you're going to watch for that. She then takes off her coat, and this is this process of her almost taking off the coat of Virginia Woolf and beginning to think about writing, beginning to think about the character Clarissa Dalloway, that she starts in a very kind of trepidatious way, starting to unfold, so it's very hesitant. So see all these adapters that Lauren is working with that we just notice, these small little gestures that just articulate this interior state of mind. And then we get the first step, right? Okay, yeah, great, Lauren. So that even a little bit more fragile. So whatever that is, it's almost like a half thought. Brilliant. It's a half thought that moves into something else. And it's broken up. These thoughts are broken up. So we've talked about this, that's beautiful. We've talked about this idea of if this is memory, that we can have states of memory where we see something right in front of us and we can lock onto it. We can see something, if just Lauren, you do it. If you do something really close, then do something really far, just shows the difference. That's a bit further. Something now right behind your eyes. those 3 types of sensation all in one possible move. So the move is the move, but the way in which we articulate the idea, how we transmit, how we share, is in the domain of the character, right? It's how you shape intention. So she's fine. Yeah, it's like almost comes like a little bit of a theme. Yeah. Amazing, opening up. So it's still very, very hesitant. We're not really fully formed in thought. And there's a repeat, so it's kind of accumulating in its action a bit. And the thought kind of develops. It's almost like she starts to get inspired, that the movement starts to take you on a journey which is a little bit more fluid, and I get a new idea. And she finds something that slightly expands her sense of what she's trying to say. Look again for the adapters all of the time, these small things that tell you about the inner state. She's getting a bit wider in her kinesphere, she's getting wider in her movements. She's starting to enjoy the beginning of this storytelling. So now Clarissa's starting really to get into her stride. The music actually, Maxie, what he does now in the music, he starts bringing in melody. Before that, it's all just sonic kind of information, it's texture. And then now he starts to bring in a kind of like a melodic line that we'll hear. And Lauren starts to find a kind of a phrase and a phrasing and an articulation of the work that becomes more fully formed dance-wise. Lovely. You know that, Lauren, just a quick technical thing. You know this, can you make sure whatever this is, it drives you. It drives you rather than it coming back on. So it moves you into the space. Like, there we go. Yeah, and can you just do in 3 different sizes? Yeah, massive, yeah, exactly. Much, much bigger. Yeah, great. Xiong. Great, fantastic. Away. She's starting to build this imagination. She's starting to build her writing. She's getting into more of a fully formed flow in writing. She's in flow. And you start to see this material reconstitute itself in different ways, different shapes. She takes up more room. Amazing. Gorgeous. And so she's in fully formed writing mode. So great, gorgeous, Lauren. So when we watch that later, I want you to watch the things that are between the steps, not the steps themselves, right? I want you to try and go and look at what are those things that are giving you the essence of that character or that character's inner state rather than the thing itself. Gorgeous. And then what happens is we get Richard, who's her husband, who very much loves her. He's a very graceful, calm, loving husband who comes and interrupts this kind of like inspired thought of writing and takes her out of that place. Okay, great. Is there any way you can get me more off? So when we come around here, you want to take a right off, so she's coming right off. So Lauren, come right back out here. Way, great. Yeah, okay, great. And one of the things that this amazing Richard does all the time is just try and take care of her too much. She wants way more independence and freedom, and what he does all the time is make her a little bit squarer to protect her. So you know that very first moment, just really like come right off your leg. Yeah, exactly. And then he'll bring you back on. Gorgeous. Yeah, lovely. She's on, she's off. Off. Lovely. This is an adapter. Okay, Tom, can you go? That's gorgeous. So Lauren has this lovely, lovely connected moment of human touch. As she moves away, can you sweep her up behind like this so she's moving and around? So just think about the space of that. Lovely. Okay, nice. Can you look at him there?
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. It's a trio now from now on. Bam, gorgeous. Nice, Tom. And this is quite risky. Whom. Yeah, she goes. Da, 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 da. And it's getting bigger, this story. So you're starting to build a relationship between the two of them, which is one of care and love. Fantastic, Lauren. And drop. Really open. Whom. Yeah, Tom, can you help me with that? So that's brilliant. So this is really great. The risk of this is great, the heaviness of that. But that needs to then sweep. Shumwa. So if it were calligraphy, it would be down in 2 massive circles like that.
So it comes from the movement comes from
exactly. So I get a down. Right, exactly that. Yes, so it's not 2 separate things. Let's try that.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Blend it. Let's go.
Yeah, let's blend it. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Help me. When is your foot hitting the floor? Because sometimes it gets stuck. I think we're just not quite sure where we are.
Usually around here and then around.
So can you see where it is or not easily? Sometimes it just gets stuck. That's the skirt you pressed, especially. Right. Here we go. So we're going to look at that. This action. Let's just see. And down. Really wide. Gorgeous. You see what I mean? It's that one. Great. Lovely. Better. Better. Great, Lauren, thank you. Thanks, Tom. And then this is, so if we're thinking about thoughts and ideas, that the movement is going arcs of kind of like ideas, that's the end of one idea, and this is the new idea. Yeah, so just like here, just start a new idea. Way. And then we get a bit more full-bodied now. Lauren, is there any way you can go from here, you can arch much more, so you fall more into a more right arch. Here we go. More space. Brilliant. Great. Oh, dangerous. Okay, great. You know when you establish that, just be there just a little bit longer and then really sail out. So really come off your leg and then round. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Really nice. Looks good. Form way. Your arch. Lovely, Lauren. Okay, change one. Okay, yeah. Here, just. What are you going to do with that? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So I think it just needs to land a little bit more before you do that, so it doesn't look like so like it just. Yeah, just we read it. Not a movement, more. Yeah, exactly. More that interior state that we talked about. There we go. Yes, excellent. Really nice. You know that one could be switch, super clean, really articulated. Chom. Switch, great, lovely. Away, nearly there. Richard, okay, the bells of Westminster go, we're going to listen out for those. Richard decides to take Clarissa, says, Clarissa, stay at home, rest. You need to stay at home, you need to rest. I don't want you to be doing anything strenuous. A kiss from a husband, a slightly patronizing kiss, even though it's meant for... And then, again, look at the adapter later. Look at what happens when she gets kissed. Should we just have a little look at the go of that? So what I want you to do this time, in this run, is just look for the adapters all the time. Look for the things that are happening beyond just the movements and see if it just gets you any more like meaning out of that duet. Should we have a little go, Lauren? What do you think? Can we actually, is it all right if we listen to the whole of the writing at the beginning? Because I think it's quite good that we just like get the context for the whole thing. So we go, this is Michaela, who's also a great ballet master, but it's also DJing for us today on this side. It's terrifying DJing, isn't it? Yeah, exactly, life and noise. Okay, so we're just going to look out for those things.
Words, English words, are full of echoes, memories, associations, naturally. They've been out and about, on people's lips, in their houses, in the streets, in the fields, for so many centuries. And that is one of the chief difficulties in writing today. They're stored with other meanings, with other memories, and they have contracted so many famous marriages in the past. The splendid word incarnadine, for example, who can use that without remembering multitudinous seas? In the old days, of course, when English was a new language, writers could invent new words and use them. Nowadays, it's easy enough to invent new words. They spring to the lips whenever we see a new sight or feel a new sensation. But we cannot use them because the English language is old. You cannot use a brand new word in an old language because of the very obvious, yet always mysterious fact that word is not a single and separate entity, it is part of other words. Indeed, it is not a word until it is part of a sentence. Words belong to each other, although, of course, only a great poet knows word incarnate, loves
Great, amazing. Thank you so much. And so, this isn't a gift of the dancer. You know, what makes the dancers here at the Royal Ballet so extraordinary? You know, these prime examples of this incredible ability to be able to take intention and manifest intention through gesture. It's not just what the choreographer gives them in terms of move. What is the move? It's actually how you color the move. And actually, when you come and see all of the casts, everybody does it in a completely different way. And obviously, when you're watching now, one just sees and experiences the whole thing. You're not looking in a technical way like that. But it's just really interesting when you just notice those things, what extra bits of meaning you can pull from information. And I think you do that naturally, right? You find a way of investing an idea through the body beyond the move. And that was really beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So I will take the mic up in a minute now, but I would just like to say to you that I thought that we witnessed something so incredibly special there. We witnessed something so incredibly special there. Thank you so much for that rehearsal. We're just taking a moment to reset, as you can see, to let Wayne and Lauren grab a quick drink of water. And as I mentioned earlier, we're celebrating a decade of Woolf works, a groundbreaking ballet that explores identity, memory, time, and particularly mortality. It draws inspiration for the writings of Virginia Woolf, but the truth is there could be no more timely ballet for the times in which we are living. And all the themes, many of the themes that are in Mrs. Dalloway will ring true in many countries around the world, so it is quite extraordinary the timing to have this. But I'd love Wayne to come forward first, and then Lauren will join us as soon as she can.
Oh, come sit here.
Lauren, that was quick. I suppose you're used to a quick change. Before we talk particularly about this and about Woolf works and also masses of other things, I just want to start by congratulating Wayne. I mean, since Woolf works was last on stage in 2023, you've been awarded a knighthood. I know you didn't really have to work for that, but you've been awarded a knighthood. You've taken your choreography all over the world. Exhibition at Somerset House, which is just extraordinary. And yesterday, published a book, We Are Movement. And it's safe to say that it's been a pretty busy few years. And so how does it feel to be back here, interestingly celebrating Woolf works, a ballet that's become so beloved of the Royal Ballet? But also, I'd just like to ask you, what was it like watching Ed?
Yeah.
You've never seen that before?
No, it was funny. Like Ed said in the rehearsal, at this point, Septimus has all his life flashing before him in various stages, and it was kind of a bit like that. We were sat in the wings the other day watching Sarah Lamb do Virginia, and we were reflecting that Ed, Lauren, and Sarah were in my very first chroma cast, which is over, which is 20 years ago, and you see this journey. And this is one of the wonderful things about dancing, right? Dancing is an art form of transmission. I never worry about, the process of dancing being replaced by any technology. It's never something that worries me, because it's a process of transmission. You saw it with Ed transmitting the embodied knowledge of him as a performer through his vehicle and his lens. You saw then this embodied way in which Lauren does her thing. And that's the really powerful and fantastic thing about any ballet. But Woolf works, 10 years on, it's incredible to see new dancers attacking the roles.
But did you ever think, you've done so many amazing pieces, but did you ever think that Woolf works become so defining for you and for the Royal Ballet?
I just don't think you can set out to do that. I think you are all so diverse. I can't make a piece for an audience. So in a way, you can only make a piece for an audience of one, and that has to be yourself. You can't do it in any other way, because I can't think how you will be thinking or responding.
But has your relationship with the piece changed? Because in a sense, you've handed it on, in a way. And I wonder if you've, as part of you, which feels obviously delighted about that, but when you watch that again, is there a kind of pathos to it?
I don't think there's a pathos to it. I think one of the wonderful things that Kevin's been doing here at the Royal is trying to develop a kind of a repertory of full-length pieces, modern contemporary full-length pieces, which are very different from the classics, which are also really, really wonderful, to show the breadth and the range of what is potential in dance and dance now. And so all I'm doing is trying to think of an experiment and trying it out and seeing what works. I'm of course really pleased that Woolf work seems to have hit a beautiful chord with lots of people.
Unlocking Your Physical Intelligence is the book, and it is extraordinary. I can see I've got so many post-its here of things I've got to do.
I want you dancing, actually. Forget the post-its.
But I wanted to talk to you. It seems extraordinary, Lauren, that you have been so ill with meningitis, and in a way, completely at odds. Your brain has been at completely odds with your body. And in a way, dancing again here, and this book in a way is about that, is you're coming into alignment again. But I know it's been incredibly tough. So explain just to let the audience here and around the world know, just how ill were you?
I mean, for me, I was quite unwell, I suppose. In the bigger picture, I'm probably was okay. But for me, it was terrifying. And I think the biggest loss was the trust I had of my body, because it wasn't healing and things were going wrong. They weren't really getting better and going well. There were just quite a few setbacks. So
dangerous setbacks.
Dangerous setbacks, and so I was immobilised for quite a long time and couldn't move my spine, which for a dancer is horrific, and never knowing when I was going to quite be able to return.
And to be fair, and you've said this to me, you were in serious amounts of pain.
Continuous head pain that just didn't really stop.
So tell me how, and I mean, this book is, honestly, it could have been written for many people. This is just, you must have a read. But how did you learn, how did your brain learn to trust your body again?
With trepidation to begin with, and then if there was like a glimmer of improvement, or I would catch myself just doing something that I hadn't been able to do for a long time, and that would give me some confidence and hope, and just doing little by little and adding. And then at some point, you just have to will it to happen. And I just had to will it. And I did, and I continued to, and luckily the body started responding.
The body started responding, but was there part of you, Wayne? I mean, you obviously, you're such a wonderful dancer, and you're a guest principal. And why wouldn't Wayne ask you to dance in this piece? But was there something, even subconsciously, about getting Lauren, not putting her back together again, but about making sure you were supporting her while she was trying to get fit again?
I don't think so. Lauren is very tenacious, a very strong-minded woman, and actually it's really interesting, isn't it, that idea of willing something into existence. I think there is an idea that if you can actually put it out there, like kind of visualize, manifest health, you can, and it's really incredible you've done that. I think I wanted you to do the role because I knew you'd be wonderful in the role. I think what you've been through obviously colours and gives you extra expressive kind of relationship with that. But it was, I just thought Lauren would be incredible in the role, and she absolutely is.
And weirdly, just to continue about being unwell and then come back into the studio, I as a person have already obviously carried that, but I don't, subconsciously it might be with me, but it's not with me when I'm in rehearsal.
No.
I'm Virginia and Wayne and Clarissa.
Yes, and in a way, it's your chance to, in a way, relax.
Yeah.
And you can see that in the way that you're dancing. You're so fluid. There's no hint of any sticking anywhere, and you just go into a different space.
Yeah.
And are you still having to do quite a lot of different exercise? I know you do have pain.
I have sort of temporary head pain sometimes, and then my spine just needs a bit more time to get to its full capacity, but it doesn't. I can still reach what I need to reach. I just can't do it all day, every day. And things like lifting and resistance I wasn't allowed to do for quite a long time. And usually rehabilitation here would start with some Pilates, reformer work and strength and conditioning training, but they're the things that I absolutely couldn't do. So it was quite a weird way round, and now I'm getting to that moment now.
Just getting on that reformer machine.
I willed myself there anyway, so it happened.
What was it about this role, though? I mean, obviously you were offered it, but you were there the first night, as we said earlier. You saw Alessandra Ferri dance it. What was it about this role that was so captivating for you?
I think it was everything that you can't really describe, and yet you can read physically, and then it transcends into emotion, and that's what's amazing about Woolf's writing. And that is what's incredible about how Wayne's constructed the ballet. It doesn't really make sense, and if I was to sit down and explain it, I don't think I could do it justice. But with all the nuance of movement and gesture, and it's so complete and really fulfilling.
You told me earlier, we spoke a few days ago, and you told me earlier about just walking into Tavistock Square and just realizing, you know, that the Virginia, I mean, I always think it's extraordinary when you're walking actually the flagstones that someone incredible walked.
Yeah. The fact that, you know, Virginia's a real part of our history, and you can take a 10-minute trip up to Tavistock Square and walk around and see where she lived, and exactly that, walk the pavements that she walked, I find completely captivating. And I have been pretty much obsessed with her and the idea of her, and how to transmit all of her ideas to an audience through Wayne's work. For months, actually. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I'm just up reading it, because it's quiet and the children aren't there, and I can read and listen and be absorbed in that world. But I think the fact that she's it's so tangible.
Yeah.
Lauren stopped me in the rehearsal the other day and she went, "Wayne, I've got to go and do the walk to the River Ouse. I've got to do it. I've actually got to go and do it."
But what is it you want? I mean, obviously, Alessandra was your first Mrs. Dalloway, first Virginia Woolf. But it's beyond, way beyond technical ability. You have such incredible technical ability. But what was it you wanted the dancer to embody? Was it the very thing that you're talking about, the idea that you actually understand Virginia Woolf?
Yeah, I think it's really important that dancers, when they're embodying roles, have a wide context about the work. I do think they have to do the reading. I think they do have to do the research. And I think the more they do that, the more richness that they can call upon. You know, it's like any way in which we build an image. If we build an image and give it more detail, we actually are able to hold on to the image longer. And so, in a way, that's about, isn't it, about dancing?
You can see her draft at the British Library. You can see the draft of Mrs. Dalloway. And actually seeing her handwriting and then crossing out, that's so relevant to that first passage, because she probably was a bit sort of... and to visualise that is...
I was going to say that's a key thing, because she wrote so powerfully about inner life, fleeting memories, sadness... Everything's so internal, and then you translate it into the most extraordinary physical dance.
Yeah, but I find it very bizarre when we talk about ballet and we think that ballet is like in some way literal. One, if you want to go to read a story, don't read Virginia Woolf. That's the wrong thing to read. Yeah. Secondly, when you know, ballet is very much more analogous with music than it is a play. You know, it's very hard to get concreteness from a ballet. It's all about kind of like sensations. But if you think about our real life, what we do every day, we're experiencing everything all of the time, everything all at once, and we're selecting and shifting our attention and making meaning from things. That's how we live. I can have a thought now about what I'm going to have for dinner while talking to you. Yeah. I'm not just... I don't know. You know, so this like multiplicity, this kind of sensorial crossover is something.
And that's in this ballet. These, you know, everything. There's architecture. There's music. There's art. There's everything. There's costume. It's a whole experience.
And that primes you, it primes your imagination, right? So it's just like in everything, you know, it might be the sonic world, it might be Maxie's music that helps you uncover a memory, or it might be the particular way that Lauren does something that reminds you of somebody that has been a kind of a similar state. Or it might be the kind of like the physical power of the choreography that takes you to a particular place in your own body. And all of those things are crossing over. And that's how we get meaning from dance. So the idea that we get meaning from dance from concreteness is very bizarre to me.
Absolutely. So, but for you, you've done so much classical ballet, dramatic roles. This was a completely different thing.
Yeah, it was. I was just reflecting, actually, as Wayne was talking about that, because, you know, I love stories, and lots of them usually have a sort of a middle and a really chunky middle and a wonderful dramatic ending. And this, Three Waves, does have that crescendo, that ending. But Mrs. Dalloway isn't written like that at all. But when I did my first run-through, I felt like I'd been through the arc of a ballet with a beginning and a middle and an end. And I don't know why, but it sort of restored my hope in narrative ballets not told in that sort of linear sense. Yeah. And it was really interesting to reflect on that. Yeah.
Well, we're going to move on a little now and talk about your new book, which is just out and is in all good bookshops here and abroad, and can, of course, be ordered from abroad as well. And in this book, We Are Movement, Unlocking Your Physical Intelligence. Your body is an instrument of your intelligence. And I think all the work that you've done leading up to this, it has been, in a way, I think it seems to me, it's been clearing the path for this expression. And this idea that body and brain, we talked about them not being aligned, but the more we can align our body and brain, the more we can give them an equal chance, the more fulfilled we'll be. And talk a bit about that. Talk about what the imperative to write this.
Well, I think the imperative was that we know so much about mathematical intelligence or musical intelligence or now emotional intelligence. But so often when we think, or I've had described, when you say that you're a dancer, people kind of roll their eyes and think that you're not very intelligent. And actually, when we're thinking about it, we think about intelligence in the head, but actually this wonderful sensing system that we have, and dancers are extraordinary, kind of reciprocals of this knowledge. Their expertise is, unrivaled in this way. We all have a physical intelligence that we just don't notice. So that says to me that in the same way that we've practiced our emotional intelligence, we can practice our physical intelligence. We can notice more, we can learn more about it, we can get better at communicating, we can raise our awareness, we can live better in our lives. Lauren had to do it through a really awful moment where she had illness, and often we only think about our bodies when our bodies go wrong. But actually, you had to do the same thing. You had to think back into your body. You had to move all of that trauma and sense of frustration and terror back into a sensorial act in the body. And dancers have been able to do that for a very long time. And I wanted to write a book that, in some way, took the knowledge that dancers and the expertise that dancers has, but kind of share it in a user-friendly, easy way for everybody, because I think everybody speaks with their bodies. Everybody has a physical intelligence that is innate. Well, if we practice it more, we're going to live better, have more richer lives. We're going to be able to create more empathy. And I absolutely know there are many politicians that should be thinking more in their body and not in their head right now. We should send it to them. Kirsty, you're on your list.
I think you should send it to them. But I think this idea of choreographic thinking, I think, is really important because, whatever is going on in our brain, it is displayed through our bodies. Whether we like somebody, whether we're scared, whether we're uncertain, whether we want community. I just very briefly want to talk to you about ABBA Voyage, because you said going to see it, what was so extraordinary about going to see it was the avatars on stage, of course, are, amazing. I say that, I haven't seen it, but I know we're going. But what you said was, the phrase you used, it was this idea that people, and let me just get this exact, yes, a massive movement choir for the whole of the show. That people found community, but that they actually found a looseness.
Yeah.
And completely got into it.
Well, it's compulsion to move. We're so fearful, especially as we get older, about moving.
Yeah.
And one of the wonderful things about that ABBA Voyage show is that obviously you've got the music, first of all, that kind of like is in a way a soundtrack to all our lives, like it or not, right? In some way, you have, ABBA kind of in your whole sensorial system somewhere. Which is a great gift. But that when you, essentially what ABBA Voyage is an incredible show of light. It's a light show. There's no real people. The ABBA are not really there, but they were trying to create the essence and the physical empathy as if they were there. But what's really amazing is it compels people to be free and to move. And to see 3,000 people move in harmony with their arms, sharing kind of like a physical kind of like collective act. It's quite extraordinary because in the theatre, you might feel it on the inside, but you're not doing this, are you? You're not sat in your seat moving.
God, if you're in Edinburgh, you're not even clapping.
Okay, right, exactly, right. So, again, it's just like, it's like, what are the codes by which we experience things? Why are we so locked in and restricted to the way in which we think about moving? And if there is an opportunity to be able to be released in that way, why not go there? What joy does it bring you? How does it shift your mental state? How does it allow you to have a kind of a cooperation or a coordination with somebody next to you that you don't know? In this world right now where empathy is sorely lacking, it's a really important primer for living. It's not just about learning how to dance. It's about how we collectively think together physically.
And what is so great about this book is there are literally exercises. Just one of the exercises that we can all do, which will increase our physical intelligence in a way. And tell me about the bottle exercise. What's it called again? Well, it's actually proprioception.
Proprioception.
Yes.
Yeah. So proprioception is this skill that we have where basically the body knows where its limbs are at any particular point, and we all have it. We just don't realize that's what it's called. And we can practice it. And actually, there are lots of neurological conditions where you start to lose that ability. But even in regular life, we can practice it. We often practice it forward, but we can practice it in all dimensions. And we do an exercise which is super simple, which is a cup on the floor, and you close your eyes, and all you have to do is walk to it and pick it up. That's all you have to do. But it's really interesting. I've actually tried it with my parents, which is very, very funny. And they start with the cup here, and they're starting here, and they have their eyes closed, and they end up over here. And you think, why is that? What is that about your spatial acuity that is based on vision, right? Yeah. This is a way of actually thinking about your proprioception in a felt sense way, and you can practice it. So I want you all to get the cup at home, practice how close you get to the cup. And as you start to practice it, you realize that you can get closer to being able to bend down and pick it up. In a way, it's exactly the same as dancers practicing in class a particular kind of exercise. What they're doing is trying to get a qualitative engagement with a tendu or a plie or a pirouette. It's not the functional thing itself, that's part of it. It's the qualitative aspect of the movement that they're trying to get to. The plie is the dancer equivalent of the cup exercise.
Yeah.
Dancers do the cup exercise incredibly well.
But I think it's interesting because you talk about anxieties and the fact that we all have anxieties, but what we have is a learned response to them by watching other people, and this and go, in a way it goes hand in hand. You also talk about the fact that we're overwhelmed attentionally too, and also terrified of failure. Those things all go hand in hand. And how do you? I mean, it's like, how do you still what's going on in your head when you're sort of and you must be sensorily overloaded sometimes. Yeah. And I wonder how you still what's going on in your head.
Yeah, that's a long story. I think the first thing I would say is around education. It's absolutely terrible in our education system at the moment that creativity has been edited out of our schools. Because actually, if you think about it, if young people continue their facility to be able to think creatively, innovate, touch one another, dance together, sing together, create theatre together, cooperate, make things, invent things, that's an incredible exercise in all life skills. It's got really nothing to do with dancing. The more that we restrict that and privilege certain kinds of intelligence over the other, it's a real problem, especially actually in a world where technology is coming from the miniaturized, is coming from being small, is coming from being plugged in to being out there in the real world and embedded. We're going to be having haptic screens. We're going to be actually needing our bodies to respond in a particular way. So I think education is a really important place where we have to instill these ideas of our physical intelligence, the importance of our physical intelligence, how we can practice it, so then it's a lifelong
But how you actually develop it? I mean, you talked about your parents didn't have much money, but what they did was they opened you up to all sorts of different experiences on the condition that you went at least 5 times, and that you didn't give up, and then you got something different out of it.
I had to kind of commit to whatever it was. I played the trumpet for many years and then the tenor horn, but I wasn't ever allowed to start something and then just give up after 2 sessions. What they wanted me to do is work on it for a while until you had that kind of passion perhaps deliver. And then if it didn't arrive, that's fine, you can move on, but not be so promiscuous with all of the ideas. And I think, you ask about, one's attention and how you do that. And I feel that I try as much as possible not to do too many things at once. It might sound like I am doing that, but I try not to do that. And one of the beautiful things about being in the studio here, making, I'm about to start a new program here and be here, is when you're in the studio 5-6 hours, your phone is off, and all you're doing is working with another human being in real time, with no technology, just exploring your bodies together.
Well, there's something in the book which I think is incredibly relevant to you, and it's what, I'll ask Wayne about it in a minute, radical self-care. You 2 tiny kids, did you need to give yourself radical self-care in order to get better, and how did you manage that?
I didn't. It was hard because obviously
Could you pop your mic up?
I'm so sorry. I have 2 young children, and it was impossible for me to take care of them. So my main job was to take care of myself, so I could get better as well as and quickly as I could. But it was challenging, and I needed quite a lot of help. And
But dancers do take great care in a way, don't they? They're always mindful of their body. They're thinking about what their food intake is. They've got a lot of knowledge about.
Yeah, I was constantly sort of trying to be 3 steps ahead of maybe the doctors, which is sort of ridiculous, but because I was learning on the job about the illness I had and the complications, so it was quite.
Do you have to learn
hard.
to do certain things again?
Well, interestingly enough, when I first came in my first session here with Jane Paris, we did. I couldn't even do Pilates, so I started something called the Bartenia Foundations, and I'd lost the ability for my brain to tell my leg to move. So I was there. She was saying, "And move your leg to the side." I was lying on the floor. I was like, "Shit, I can't manage. I can't do that." She was like, "We'll do that next time." So we did the arms, and I could do the arms, but I couldn't do them.
But that's extraordinary because that was only 3 months.
Yeah.
Lauren Cuthbert.
Whoa!
That's amazing.
I don't want to dwell on it too much.
No, of course you
I
don't.
must say, I've never felt so appreciative of
your body
health and my body and everything that it can do.
Well, I really want to look ahead for both of you. I mean, an extraordinary period for you, Wayne. Knighthood, Somerset House, an extraordinary exhibition that is still on. This book and your ongoing role at the Royal Ballet, apart from, as it were, your own ballet course, ballet company. How do you make sense of this moment in your career? And I wonder, where do the Knighthoods sit in that? And what do you feel about that? Were your parents happy?
We were all happy, yeah. We had a lovely day at Windsor. It was very nice. Yeah, really nice.
Lovely.
And, you know, I mean, I was really also pleased. I mean, it speaks to, again, this idea of how our intelligence sets in some way valued kind of like globally, and this idea that it's important that, you know, for the artistic community, that artists in some way are celebrated in that and part of that conversation around you know, excelling. But I really felt it was a kind of like a community kind of gift rather than an individual gift, because, you know, dancing is very much a we, not I endeavour. And you're asking about, you know, my relationship here with the Royal Ballet. I feel so fortunate that I can come to an incredible building with all this extraordinary talent. And it's a talent which is, we think about it as a company, but within that company, each individual has something very particular to offer and to share. And that every rehearsal is so different because you've got a different constellation of people in the room that you're trying to work out how to communicate with. And that's why you could, I don't think, ever be bored or frustrated or have no ideas in a room where there's so much life, and you realize the younger ones are you know, pushing you even further. So it's one of those situations where you have experience and you've got dancers that you work with a very long time that really understand you and can take you in a direction which is really phenomenal. It makes you grow, but also you're challenged with people that want to challenge you. They might know you, but they're like, come on already.
A bit more.
Oh, it's a bit more.
Bit more. It's okay. You got your knighthood.
That's an amazing gift for an artist. You know, I think this idea that, you know, it's really important to support young work, and we do that a lot, and young artists, it's very, very important. But all artists, at whatever stage in their career, need champions around them, need support structures around them, need the opportunities to make. And I worked a few years ago with an amazing artist called Carmen Herrera, and she was 105 when I met her. And she had her first show at the Whitney when she was 89, and she made this stage set for us, which is Untitled, which is coming down. But she made it really, really quickly because she said, I'm not sure if I'm going to be around. And she was so driven, and it was incredible to have someone of that kind of experience and that knowledge to work on a production. And I think one of the wonderful things about being here at the Opera House is, you know, the Opera House really facilitates some really big vision and really big thinking.
Yeah.
And I feel very privileged because of that.
Finally, Lauren, to you, recently, principal guest artist, which brings you a lot of freedom, but different choices as well. And has that shift changed the way you think about your career and actually what roles you want to take on? Yeah,
definitely. It was a really positive moment for me to become a guest principal, because it meant that, I don't know, I just felt like I needed a slightly different chapter in my professional career that I'd sort of entered in my own life. And much to what Wayne was saying earlier about not doing too many things at once, I really take so much pleasure about having one thing that I'm really focusing on. And it's a luxury because I get I get to put everything in, and I feel in that way I get everything out of it. And at this point in my career, it feels more enriching.
Thank you both very much indeed. What a great,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have to move on.
It's been a really wonderful evening with the chance to see extraordinary choreography up close and watch people in action. You know, Ed as a repetiteur, you know, Wayne talking about the long association with Woolf works, and to hear directly from people like Lauren Cuthbertson, extraordinary. And while this insight might be coming to a close, there's still time to catch Woolf Works, which opens on the main stage here at the Opera House tomorrow on the 17th of January. You can find tickets on the website, but put this in your diary as well. It's going to be broadcast live in cinemas on the 9th of February. So a huge thank you to all our dancers tonight, to Wayne and Ed for leading the rehearsals. And thank you to all of you here at the Clore Studio, as well as everybody watching online. We hope you've enjoyed this insight. From all of us here, a very good night.